Have you ever seen this image before? For over a decade, the internet has been wondering, is it real? Is it just a meme? Where did this shark in a swimming pool even come from? Today, we're finally revealing the incredible story of how a childhood dream and a project that nearly ended in disaster created this iconic photo. Stick around, because the truth behind this picture is more mind-blowing than you might think. This mysterious photo first exploded on sites like 9gag and Reddit in the early 2010s, often captioned, "My childhood's irrational fear." After all, if you grew up watching Jaws or any shark movie, you probably had that brief, ridiculous thought, what if a giant great white was lurking at the bottom of the pool right now? It's illogical, yet so many of us have felt it. That's why this meme spread like wildfire. It tapped into a fear we all recognize but barely talk about. However, the biggest mystery was its origin. No one knew where it came from, who took it, or why it existed in the first place. Was it an animatronic test? A movie set photo? A bizarre Photoshop prank? Even in 2023, countless threads were still debating whether this was a practical effect, a digital edit, or something else entirely. We dug through forums, old blog posts, and reverse image searches, but kept hitting dead ends, until we stumbled upon a tiny Reddit community discussing a little-known documentary called Mind of a Demon. And that's where things got really interesting. It turns out that the photo is actually real, and it comes from a wild project spearheaded by none other than Fabien Cousteau, grandson of the legendary ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau. As a child, Fabien read a Tintin comic where the characters use a shark-shaped submarine. That sparked his own dream. What if you could build a sub that looks like a great white shark so you can observe these creatures in their natural environment? No cages, no barriers, just you inside a giant mechanical shark. Fast forward a few decades and Fabien was ready to turn that dream into a reality. He enlisted inventor Eddie Paul and a team of engineers to design and build this one-of-a-kind submarine. The idea was for it to move and appear so much like a great white that real sharks wouldn't see it as an invader. Of course, this was easier said than done. They needed a steel frame for safety, a flexible skin to mimic real shark movements, and onboard cameras that could pass for a shark's eyes. It was a monumental task that pushed the limits of engineering and patience. Before heading into the open ocean, they had to test the submarine in a controlled environment, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. They needed to see if it would float correctly, handle water pressure, and maintain basic functionality. Someone at that test snapped a photo of the sub resting at the deep end. Over time, that single screenshot found its way online, stripped of all context, and became the meme we know today, the shark in a swimming pool. Now here's where it gets intense. After the pool tests, Fabien and his crew took their mechanical shark to Guadalupe Island, a famous hotspot for great white sharks. The plan was to watch them up close in a far more realistic way than any cage dive. But on the very first immersion, tragedy nearly struck. The submarine lost buoyancy control and communications, leaving Fabien essentially trapped inside, sinking deeper into the water. It took a nail-biting 20 minutes for the dive team to locate him and haul the sub back. Luckily, he was okay, shaken but not ready to quit. That's when they realized that this design was riskier than they'd imagined. The steel cage meant to protect Fabien also acted like a giant anchor whenever something went wrong. Still, they pressed on, made adjustments, and eventually managed to get the sub to function more reliably. The reward was unprecedented footage and observations. Fabien saw that sharks, like people, have unique personalities. Some were curious and even approached the sub, investigating this strange mechanical visitor. Others kept their distance, and a few were boldly territorial. None, however, were the mindless killing machines that pop culture often portrays. Emboldened by these discoveries, Fabien wanted to push the experiment further. Deeper water, darker conditions, maybe even at night, where great whites are known to hunt. That is when everything went south again. During one particularly challenging dive, the submarine suffered a total systems failure. With oxygen running dangerously low, Fabien had to make a split-second choice: stay in the sinking sub or abandon ship and swim back home. Surrounded by great whites in pitch-black water, he made the terrifying decision to leave his creation behind. Incredibly, he reached the surface unharmed. The sharks didn't attack. In fact, they largely ignored him. That moment hammered home his belief that these creatures are misunderstood and that humans might be their own worst enemy. Eventually, the expedition wrapped up, and the submarine earned its place in history as both a revolutionary idea and a cautionary tale. So how does a near-fatal submarine experiment become a silly meme about pool sharks? When a single out-of-context image circulates online without explanation, people can't help but fill in the blanks with their own theories. One quick screenshot from those pool tests was posted somewhere, got shared a million times, and soon it morphed into a meme that still baffles people today. Ultimately, this story reminds us that a simple internet meme can hide an incredible backstory, one involving innovation, danger, and a passion for understanding the ocean's most iconic predator. It also teaches us that failure is often just a stepping stone to discovery. Fabien Cousteau risked his life, but he gained a new perspective on these animals, and he shared that insight with the world. So the next time you see this mysterious shark photo floating around social media, you'll know the real story behind it, and hopefully, you'll appreciate the daring adventure that made it possible. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth with us, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps us keep digging into fascinating stories like this. And if you want to support us even further, check out our Patreon in the description. Thank you for watching, Duck Squad, and stay curious. Who knows what other internet mysteries are waiting to be solved?